Train the muscles, not the joints.
Welcome back to Natural Gland Bodybuilding Mountain. And today I'm going to talk about my favorite biceps exercise, which is the incline curl, and a couple of things that you can do to make the exercise more effective for you. Now, most importantly, there are lots of different ways to do the incline curl. There are lots of different angles, and depending on you and your flexibility and the way you're built will depend on which angle is probably the best. But I do feel it's best to start with a conservative angle, such as more an upright position. Not totally upright, but just slightly back, maybe 70 degrees or so. And then from there, see how it feels when you bicep curl. Are you feeling the stretch in the bicep belly? Or are you feeling it more in the delt? Now, assuming you have healthy shoulders and you're built more so like me, you'll probably feel it quite a bit in the biceps. And you might even benefit from lowering the incline a little bit more. But one thing I want you to watch out for is that if you start feeling the stress in the front delts, then that means you're leaning the incline back a little bit too much. So I find you're better off going into the territory of working the bicep, not the delts so much. So you don't want to overstretch the delts. Just a subtle stretch is good enough. So as you can see, I have this incline set up a little bit more vertical than usual, actually. And the reason why I'm sharing this information is because it's something I've just been doing recently, and I'm liking it. So those of you who have watched my incline bicep videos before, there's a slight twist on this one. So that's why you want to watch my stuff, because even if it seems redundant, there's always a small little evolution that's going on in real time. So you guys can get really excited about that. Mountain. So what I'm doing here on this incline is a lot of times I'll find that this vertical position is a little bit too vertical for it to be perfect. So I'll do my arm curls like normal, like this, or like I said also, to externally rotate a bit. And I feel great biceps on that, but it's even better if I scoot the butt out just a little bit to find that perfect angle. Okay, for full disclosure, your ass does not have to be as big as mine in order for this technique to work, just so you know. But yeah, if I find that the incline's pretty steep, which is fine, and I want to err on the side of caution there, and then all I do is just slide the bum forward a bit, and then I'll start doing the incline curl, the set, right? But sometimes if I'm too vertical, it doesn't necessarily feel the same. Sometimes I'm not necessarily getting the stretch in the bicep belly I want. So you're gonna have to play around with this and see what is the perfect angle for you. Obviously you don't wanna overstretch the front delts or understretch the bicep, right? So you're gonna find that happy medium in there. And in this way, I'm not feeling pressured to overstretch those front delts. So if I put this pad down farther, then one could say I might be overstretching my delts. And if your delts are feeling such a huge stretch, you're not going to be able to push the biceps as well into failure. And you will guaranteed start to notice some sort of shoulder irritation at some point during your bench press workouts if you start overstretching the delts during incline curls. And some people, this might happen with to more of an extreme than others, but that can happen. And of course, what's the point of that, right? You're here to train biceps, not to hyper irritate your shoulders. So yeah, here's a few sets of me doing inclines on here, so you get a good idea of what I'm doing. Now, the other way that you can ensure that you're not bringing the delts so strongly into the bicep exercise is when you are doing your incline curl, you just supinate and turn the arms out slightly as you're coming up. And as you do this, you'll notice that a lot of the stress leaves the front delt and transfers onto the bicep belly. And that's a really great thing to do. Now, one thing that happens also when you're doing the incline is that you're going to go to different gyms and they're going to have different settings for the incline. And you might find that you cannot find the right sweet spot, right? You might be putting it back too far and then, crap, I'm getting my delts stretched too much, or you put it too high and then you feel like you're too vertical. So what I do is I usually will err on the side of more vertical on the incline, and then I slide my butt out a bit just to basically bring myself in a less vertical position. And that way I can find the best of both worlds. And as I'm bringing the weight up, I stick the chest out and externally rotate just slightly to keep that tension on there. Now, this was the exercise that was responsible for most of my gains. Yes, I did barbell curls. Yes, I did preachers, and I did some hammers here and there. But for the most part, I always found that the incline curl was the best way to keep the tension on the biceps. Now, the other way to do the incline curl is to get into one of those cable stations where you have two cables at the side, and then you step away from the machine until your arms are slightly pulled back, and then just curl the arms, right? You don't have to bring them forward too much, but just curl the arms, and you're gonna notice that you keep that tension on that bicep belly. Now, why is the incline or exercises like it so effective? Well, it keeps the stress in a semi-stretched position on the belly of the muscle. As you notice, it's the belly of the muscle, not the tendon in the elbow, right? Otherwise, somebody could say the preacher was the best, right? With the preacher at the bottom part of the movement, that's at the most stretch, but you'll notice that the stretch transfers a lot to the tendons. So when you're doing an incline curl, you can basically adjust the incline so that you feel the stretch more here. And then once you're totally extended, the stretch does not extend into the tendon, right? Because gravity goes straight up and down. And when your arms are straight up and down to the ground, basically gravity's not pulling your elbow into a hyper extended state. It's just maintaining straightness, right? So what happens is that you end up maintaining a lot of tension on the bicep without so much danger on the bicep tendons. And that's why it's one of the most supreme bicep exercises that I ever found for myself and for a lot of people that I trained over the years. So again, there are lots of different ways to do the incline curl, but the one I like the most is when I externally rotate a bit and then bring the dumbbells up to here, right? But to extend the set, what you can do is kind of like a drag curl where you just bend the arms when the arms are back. And that is, of course, also an effective technique. It just may center the focus on a different part of the biceps instead of the long head that crosses the shoulder, right? So whatever head of the bicep crosses the shoulder, you might get a little bit more of that as you're bringing the arms up a little bit because you're bringing a fuller range of motion and you're kind of anterior lifting the elbows a little bit, right? So that may bring in a bit of that bicep head. But if you want to extend the set and you know you can't do a full rep anymore, all you do is just keep the elbows back and just curl for those extra reps. And sometimes I'll just do straight sets like that, you know, so you don't always have to do it this way. It's just whatever way you prefer and see which one is giving you the best results. So yeah, test this theory out, try it out for yourself, see if it really feels right. And yeah, get back to me and talk to me about how huge your mountains are and all that stuff. Mountain. So anyway, I hope this helped out in your training. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. If you need to get hold of me, just go to naturalgalantbodybuilding.com, and thanks to the page supporters, and take care for now. I thought that was a butterfly. That was just a leaf. I think the tree was telling me to leaf. Fine. I'm going. Fine.